So really appreciate this. Really appreciate you being here today. This is super exciting for all of us at Mars Venus Coaching. Our whole goal and mission in life is to help relationships be more harmonious. And so we've had an outstanding response to this workshop. Well over 700 people have registered. Many of them may not be able to make the live call, which is why we're recording it. So for all of you who are watching the recording, thank you for watching this. We're really happy you're here. This is a very exciting time for us. So one of the things I wanted to reiterate that Helmut had mentioned is please, this is interactive. Put your questions in the chat box. Be interactive with
Yes,
us.
I
Ask us
agree.
questions, tell
Yeah.
us where you're from. We would love to know who is here. We've got people from all over the world that have registered, and our hearts are just bursting at the response that we've had because we have been and are and continue to be living in a sea of stress. And when we can learn how that affects us and we can learn to respond to it more effectively for ourselves and others, that's what changes the world. So I've got someone here from Canada and in Seville, London, the Czech Republic, Scotland. What else here? Let's see,
Canada.
Switzerland. Wow, Egypt, Romania, New York, the Philippines, Portugal. Good morning, everyone. Hi, Clay from Colorado. Nice to see you. Bahrain, Mexico. Look at this. This is just like, I mean, I'm a woman. I'm emotional. This brings tears to my eyes. My heart is bursting. Michigan, my hometown, Saudi Arabia, Canada, Oklahoma City. Wow, this is fantastic. Bulgaria. I'm just going to keep reading. Boise, Idaho. For all of us that are up early, we got DC. Thank you so much. We need all of the relationship help out there that we can get. Tel Aviv, Norway, London, Bali. Oh, I wish I was in Bali right now. Palm Springs. Oh, this is just so beautiful. I just want to thank you all for being here. Really, these are potent times. And John's work is timeless. And so I'm going to introduce myself here. So my name is Susan Burke, and I am so grateful, like I said, that you chose to spend this time with us. The session today is Why Men and Women Collide, and it's all about stress. Frankly, this is the book and the material that got me to leave my very successful corporate career at American Express to jump into being a certified Mars Venus coach. Because this is the book that John wrote, among many of his books, that connected the science to his very powerful relationship techniques, communication techniques in Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. And I had the honor to go to many of John's workshops throughout the years. And he would tell the story that, yeah, this is all great, Mars and Venus, how to communicate with each other. But what he found is that so many men and women were under stress in relationships, they couldn't apply the information because their brain chemistry was overwhelmed or they were stuck and they didn't understand how to handle stress. So he did a lot of research and a lot of studying, and he wrote this beautiful book called Why Mars and Venus Collide. And today you're going to be lucky enough in the next hour and a half to learn the basic techniques and our physiology around what happens to women and what happens to men when we're faced with stress. And not only what happens, but what we can do about it. Because when we understand that, we also can understand each other so much more. And then we can live more in harmony instead of in collision. So I hope that all makes sense to you, and I hope you're super excited like we are today. So this isn't just going to be a lecture. So we want this to be interactive. So keep Yeah, totally makes sense, right? Wait till you see this workshop. It's fantastic. I ran this workshop a lot. It was the number one workshop that people came to. In fact, when I talk about this to people, I was telling people, "Oh my God, I'm so excited. I get to lead this workshop for Mars and Venus under stress." And even I was getting my hair done so I could look cute today. And my hairstylist is going to be on this call today. She's like, wait, I want to know this. Everybody wants to understand how to handle stress more effectively so they can have better relationships with themselves and with others. So again, thank you for, I look cute. Thank you. Thanks, Heather. You made me look cute. Okay, so this isn't going to be a lecture, like I said. It's going to be an interactive workshop where you share and hopefully have a few, if not many, aha moments. Like, oh my God, that totally makes sense. Just like we saw in the chat earlier. So, and to make even, to make this more special, Mars Venus is so generous. I love this organization so much. We're going to be giving away at the end. So stay to the end, not just for the prize, but because this material is fantastic and we're fun. But we're going to be giving away 3 lifetime memberships worth $497 a piece to our Secrets of Successful Relationships course. We're going to draw the winners at the very end. So please stay here. You need to be present to win. And you'll need to put in a little bit of an answer to a question I'm going to ask you at the end. So we'll stay tuned for that. All right. So like I said earlier, I, was at American Express, corporate America, looked successful on the outside, totally stressed out on the inside. They kept changing everything, asking me to do more, paying me less, giving me more responsibility. So, I just couldn't stay there anymore. I actually quit twice before that, but I kept going back because it was my safety net. And then I found Rich and I found Mars Venus Coaching. And I thought, this is it. I'm going to transition into being a coach. I was a life coach and a business coach. And I am going to get certified with a brand and with people that I trust. And there's science behind it. So that's what I did. That was over a decade ago. I've gone on to be a successful coach, a speaker. I've owned several businesses and sold them. I own a business right now, a healing center. And so this material and all of the Mars Venus coaching material and Rich has really changed not only my lives, but the lives of thousands of people across the world. So grateful for that. Now, don't get me wrong, I still feel stressed. In fact, I'm going through a legal situation right now, and I get to apply these principles to help me digest, understand, take a deep breath, and understand how to apply what you're going to learn today. And it changes everything. So stay tuned. And now I'm really excited to, be introducing Rich Bernstein. He's been my coach, my mentor, my friend for a long time. And I adore him. I respect him. And I'm so grateful to introduce him today. So this is going to, many of you know Rich, many of you may not. It's Rich Bernstein. He's the CEO and head trainer of Mars Venus Coaching. And together we're going to walk you through the science of stress, why men and women collide, and the simple but powerful tools that you can start using today. Today, you can start using them today. And by the end of the session, you'll not only understand your own stress response clearly, but you'll see how these same insights can transform your relationships. And for some of you, this might even spark an idea of turning this knowledge into a career that helps others, just like it did for me. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Rich Bernstein.
You got to be kidding. How am I going to follow that?
You're just going
to not only is she so cute, but that energy and that positivity, I have to follow that. You got lucky. You don't have to follow Susan. So today, as she said, we're going to learn how men and women cope with stress differently. And I just want to tell you a little bit about me as the CEO of Mars Venus Coaching. I didn't know any of this stuff 30 years ago when I got married. I've now been married for 34 years. The first 17 years of my marriage, my wife, I don't want to say it to all the women on the call, but I didn't understand why she acted this way. Can I use the word irritating, to say the least? And the last 17 years, because I've been here at Mars Venus for more than 17 years now, I can't believe that went by so quickly. Susan, I've known you now for 14 years as a Mars Venus coach. I am surprised, but the last 17 years has made such a difference in my life because now I understand why she acts that way and why I act completely different. And when I show you these differences and how to deal with them, how to implement it into your life, I promise you it will change your life. You will never look at men and women the same again. So this is going to be a really good interactive workshop. I'm going to let Echo in. And I'm going to share my screen with you guys. So let me, hold on. And I want to share with some sound. Share. Okay. Wait, hold on one second. I want to share the actual presentation. And we're going to be ready to go. Let me know when you guys can see this because it's an audio visual because I want you to see it as well. And just let me know you can see this. Yes? Good. Okay. So how to practice safe stress. This is what's really important is this is not going to be a data dump where I just give you a bunch of information. What I really want to do today is really have you understand what can I do on a day-to-day basis to lower my stress. Susan, when she joined us and she had a lot of stress, she actually said to me, Rich, it's not just stressful at corporate, but transitioning from corporate is just as stressful. And I believe that if I join Mars Venus, I am literally going to burn a bridge behind me. Susan, I remember that first discussion and I said, that's got to be stressful. Let's talk about some of the tools that we can use to lower that stress. And I believe it worked for you, Susan. Yes?
Yes. And still continues to.
Okay, right. We use it every single day. Now, I know many of you know the original book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. But a lot of people don't know that John has actually written 23 books over the last 23 years. Every single year he writes a book. And his newest one, Beyond Mars and Venus, is an amazing book. If you haven't read it, you should, because what he's doing is applying what's going on in the world every single year and how men and women cope with those things differently. But of all the books that John's written, this happens to be my favorite book. And the reason it's my favorite is I look at the science that's behind this. I don't want it to just be John's observations or, oh yeah, I saw that. Over years of therapy that he did, he went to UCLA Medical Center, he went to Stanford Medical Center, and he did a lot of work on really understanding how men and women brain is wired differently, how the hormones are different, and it's all in this one book. So I strongly recommend you read this one if you're into the science like I am. So before we begin, I want to share a video that John this is a very interesting video. This will kind of set the stage of how men and women cope with stress differently. Please let me know if you can hear it.
How do men and women cope with stress differently? One of the biggest reasons for problems in relationships. Yes. Not because we cope differently, but because we don't understand how we cope differently. That's the whole key, is we just don't understand what we're dealing with. And we don't understand it, we tend to misinterpret it. So how do men and women cope with stress differently? To sum it up very simply, men cope with stress by solving problems. If I'm stressed, okay, what can I do about it? Let me find something I can do and let me do something about it. The most depressing thing for a man is to think there's nothing I can do to solve this problem. That's why men are always trying to solve problems, and they feel best when they're solving problems. So let's say I'm at work and there's all these problems, but today there's problems you can't solve in one day. There's mortgages and bank loans and things that you have to do. I'm going to wait 6 months for. Maybe tomorrow you got a real estate deal. Is it going to happen? Is it not? So at the end of the day, there's nothing I can do to solve this problem. So what do men become experts at? How do you solve a problem that you can't solve? We've been doing it for time. Since the beginning of time. We've got this gene that allows us to do it. If you can't solve a problem, no problem. Forget it. And Plato explained it. He said, because he's a very serious philosopher type, he said that life is a serious endeavor, but there's utility and seriousness and being frivolous. And so one has to have frivolous behaviors as well, because they put you on the right side of the brain. So if you go to the right side of the brain and you're a man, the left side of your brain goes to sleep, has a nice rest. If you're on the left side of your brain, it just gets worn out. But see, women can't leave the left side of the brain.
Oh,
Stopped.
oh.
They're always thinking, and they're always feeling, and they're always planning to talk or remembering to talk or whatever. The whole brain is functioning for women in a different way for a man. Now, we can feel sorry for women, we can feel sorry for men, or we can go, how can we support each other? First of all, let me explain what women do to cope with stress. She often wants to talk about it. She wants to talk about all the problems that happen today. And why would she ever want to do that? From a man's point of view, if there's problems and you can't do anything about it, forget it. And that, by the way, is another communication skill, men, you just have to practice, which is if a woman's talking about a problem, remember not to say these words. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. Just forget it. Here's something that I tried once. After a stressful day for my wife, I said, honey, don't worry about it. Let's just have sex. Only once, didn't work. She'll talk about some problems, and he'll say, just quit that job. Find another job. It's your choice. Do something else. Does she feel like you're even interested in what she had to say? No. Does she feel like you really care about her? No. And the truth is, man, is she really asking for your advice at that time? I mean, men are actually, on a subconscious level, this is where we're coming from. We give, honey, just quit that job. What do you expect her to say? What a brilliant idea. I hadn't thought of it. I have a problem at the job. I could just quit it and find another job. Well, that's great. I feel so great. No wonder you make all the money. She's not going to say that. She's not asking for advice. What she's looking for is using her relationship as a way to cope with stress.
I love this
I do too.
video. To me, it really kind of sums everything up. Please do me a favor. Why are we so stressed out? Everybody put in the chat one or two things that stress you out more than anything. Just put it in the chat real quick. I'm just curious to see how you guys cope with stress. Where does it actually come from?
Moving. The kids. The kids. I can see why that would stress people out. Too much to do. My
Mm,
partner. You
my
know,
part-
stress, Rich, stress is so interesting because as I was thinking about preparing for this, often we feel like we get stressed from the outside, right? It's like stuff happens to us that we have no control over, and that's stressful. And there's no doubt about that. But also, as I was thinking, sometimes people get stressed of, so stress is change equals stress. That's what I'm trying to say. When something changes around us, we can we can react in a stressful manner. It's like, oh my God, something's changing. I don't know what to do. I don't want it to change. I want it to stay the same. But sometimes it's the lack of change that actually stresses us out. Nothing's changing. And it's stressful because everything just stays the same. So
Exactly.
that's another reason why I feel like this is so important, because whether things are changing or not changing, it can create stress. So money is a big stressor. I know that we can often feel that way.
Yeah. And we're going to go through some of the stressors right now. But one of the biggest ones that a lot of people don't think about is what we call unrealistic expectations. A lot of you might not know who this woman is on the left, but here in the United States, back in the 50s and 60s, we had a television show called Leave It to Beaver. This woman was the perfect housewife, and every housewife in America watched her, and her husband would come home and she'd take off his coat and take off his shoes and literally have dinner ready, and the kids had already done homework. She was the perfect housewife, and everyone wanted to be like her. And then we have little girls that are growing up with Barbie, with the perfect hair and the perfect body. And, these expectations, where do they come from? Just put in the chat real quick. Where do unrealistic expectations come from? We have the woman on the right that's got a great job and she's very pretty and she probably makes a lot of money. Where do unrealistic expectations come from? Society, social media, It's just amazing to me how everybody's looking at everybody else's life going, I need to be like that. And Susan, as you said, that creates a lot of stress that I'm supposed to be like that. And so this is every single girl grows up, every single woman believes that she needs to be Superwoman or Wonder Woman, that she can do everything, or she's told to be independent. This is all coming from all of our media and movies and television. And so to me, this is one of the biggest stressors we have is society itself.
Yeah.
Now, this is not just for women. Men have the same thing. We're supposed to be able to fix stuff. I can't fix anything. I have two left thumbs. We're supposed to be strong like a military man. We're supposed to be handsome like me. I mean, like George Clooney. We're supposed to have it all together. And so this puts a lot of pressure on men as well. We are expected to be like Superman, like romantic. This is me.
Frozen. Come on.
Right now, we have 2 times the stress, the burden that our parents had. We live in a very different world than 20 years ago, 25 years ago, 40 years ago. My grandmother didn't work. My grandfather did all the work, and my grandmother stayed home with the kids, took care of the shopping, took care of the cooking, all of that. So it's a much simpler life back then. Nowadays, so many women are working. Why? Because they need to. We need the 2 incomes just to stay alive. So not only do they go to work all day, then they come home and they have all the work that my mother and my grandmother had. They have to cook, they have to clean, they might have to work from home, take care of the kids. This creates a lot of stress. And so keep that in mind. We live in a different world. Now, when I first met Susan at American Express, when I went to her office, this left side, this is what I saw. A bomb went off. She had that never-ending to-do list, and she was literally on it all the time and adding to it. I don't remember stuff coming off the list. I only remember things going on it. So this is really, really important, the never-ending to-do list. Here's another really big one. And women believe this, that they don't have the right male support. They're not getting that support. And you know what? Today you're going to learn what is the appropriate male support.
Right.
Very happy to teach you that because I didn't know any of this before I became a Mars Venus coach. As you said earlier, Susan, the pressure to be successful, the financial challenges we have. None of us thought about COVID 3 or 4 years ago. It came out of the blue, and we have that pressure to make money to stay alive. This puts a lot of pressure. This one is more on men than on women, but women that had the same challenge. A difficult economy. Nowadays, it's not just having a plan A and a plan B. We need a plan C and a plan D. And what happens if we have another pandemic? What happens if this creates a lot of stress in the relationship itself, not just in you personally. The changing roles of women. This is a really big one because I think women that are now in senior executive positions like Susan was, or doctors or lawyers or facilitators, they're actually changing the role, which means they're in their masculine energy a lot. And while they're in their masculine energy in a relationship, it pushes him into his feminine energy. We're going to talk a little bit about how to resolve that. But this is one of the issues because and I've heard this from so many women that I coach. In order for me to be successful, I have to act like a man. Yep. It's a man's world, so I got to act like a man. And frankly, that's not true. We're going to talk a little bit about that later. Work-life balance. This is a really big one. Super mom, super wife, super tired. How many of you women on this call can relate to that? Just say yes or give me a thumbs up that you can relate to super mom, super wife, super tired. And he's trying to help. Now, I will tell you, and this just hit me. I read an article years ago by Richard Branson about work-life balance. And I want to give you a little tip right now. The problem with work-life balance is the word balance. That is the problem, is it has a connotation of we have to be balanced. We have to be equal, our work and our life, and that's just not realistic. And he said what will resolve a lot of that is replace the word balance with harmony. Work-life harmony changes your whole perspective. And that's what I try to do. And all the people that I coach, we try to get harmony in their life. Doesn't mean it has to be 8 hours and 8 hours. It has to be harmonized. So if you write that word down, harmony, and remember that, it'll lower your stress right out of the gate. There's somebody we can mute, Helmut. So now that we talked about where stress comes from, let's talk about what happens to our body when we're under stress. First, we produce two hormones, cortisol and adrenaline. Most people know adrenaline. They know our heart beats fast, we get excited, our palms might get sweaty. So we know all about adrenaline. But I'm going to tell you now, cortisol has been the most mysterious hormone in our body, and it's been studied by medicine for the last 20, 25 years. And the reason they study it so much is our hormones in our body are an orchestra. They're like a symphony. They all work hand in hand. When one is up, one is down, things like that. And they didn't understand, what is this cortisol? What does it do in that orchestra, in that whole symphony that happens in our body? And what they have discovered is fascinating. Cortisol is actually the danger hormone. They didn't know that when you are under danger, if a woolly mammoth was chasing you or a lion jumped through your window right now, your cortisol levels would spike. They would go through the roof. Why? Because it actually gives you extra strength in your legs so you can run faster. It gives you extra strength in your arms that you could actually, we've all heard about the woman who picks up a baby to get picks up a car to get the baby out from under it. It also gives you acuity of vision so you can see clearer and you can get away from that danger. Your body is designed to have high levels of cortisol for 5 or 10 or 15 minutes. As soon as you get out of danger, your cortisol levels subside to the normal level, and then you're fine. What's really interesting, when you are under stress, as Susan said, when you're under stress with all these different factors, your body actually believes you're in danger. Please remember that or write that down. Your body under stress believes you're in danger. And people have high levels of cortisol because they believe they're in danger, not for 5 or 10 or 15 minutes, but 5 or 10 or 15 years. And that has a profound effect on our body. What is that effect? Well, first of all, I'm going to tell you, the normal things that it causes, of course, we're exhausted. We have headaches. We have sleepless nights, things like that. We know the normal things that happen. But let me tell you what's happening underneath that. If your body believes you're in danger, the effect of those high levels of cortisol, the first thing is it weakens your immune system. If a lion jumped through your window, it doesn't care that you have a cold. It wants to take all that energy to your legs and your arms and get you out of danger. That's why we have more illnesses now than we've ever had in the history of mankind. What else does it do? Heart disease, because it doesn't care about your heart pumping. We're in survival mode to get out of danger. High blood pressure, that's a really big one. We have more people with high blood pressure than ever in the history of mankind. Here's another one, high blood sugar. That's very common now. Diabetes is in a higher percent ratio than it's ever been, all directly related to high levels of cortisol. This one is my favorite, digestion. If you believe you're going to be digested, you don't need digestion. So we have more stomach problems and more, irritable bowel and all of that directly related to high levels of cortisol. This is what it does, the damage to our body. Nerve damage, nerve problem. This is crazy that this cortisol has this much effect. And then, of course, as I mentioned earlier, anxiety and depression and headaches. All of this is from high levels of cortisol.
Can I jump in for a second?
Yeah, please.
I think this is so important because we have all of these medical issues that have come up, especially with women, autoimmune disease, things that the doctors can't solve, and they give us all these medications. And so much of this comes down to stress. And what's interesting is I think we've all been conditioned slowly over a period of time to deal with stress in such a way that we don't even know how stressed out we are, which is what we talked about on the podcast that we did prior to this workshop. We don't even realize that we're so stressed out because we've become conditioned to accept the stress. And only when our body starts to break down is it really the indicator that this is an issue. So this I found in my work with so many people and have health issues. Stress is such an important factor in health issues.
Very important. Great. So, on top of all that stress, one caveat of stress on top of it all is the way we cope with stress differently. That affects the relationship. The fact that my wife and I cope with stress differently actually intensifies the stress on top of all the other stress. Because we don't, as I said earlier, cope differently. We actually cope oppositely. And I'm going to show you that in a minute. And that's our greatest challenge. And therefore, Mars and Venus are going to collide. I love this because that shows that's the reality of it. So let's talk about some of the physiological differences between men and women, and then I'll tie it into how to lower this. What's very interesting is they can do an MRI on a man and a woman's brain under stress. Do you know a woman's brain under stress looks like a man's brain on drugs? Because if you look, there's only a little bit of the man's brain that's lit up under stress. Why? Because if he can't solve it, as John said in the video, what does he do? Forget it. Just forget about it. Women can't do that because of the two sides of the brain. We're going to talk in a minute about that. Another really big difference, physiologically speaking, is serotonin. This is the happy chemical in your brain. And do you know that men actually produce twice as much as a woman in a 24-hour period? That's amazing. It's almost not fair. And you guys use it up more than men do in a much quicker pace. That serotonin is everything to do with happiness.
Yep.
Here's another physiological difference. They can actually do an MRI on a man and a woman under stress and look at where the blood flow goes. In a man's brain under stress, it goes directly to the fight or flight response. It literally goes to that part of the brain that will take action right away. And that's what John said. Men are wired to fix, to solve, to achieve, to succeed. Why? Because that part of the brain is lit up under stress. Women, on the other hand, when they are under stress, the blood flow goes to the limbic system, which is a different part of the brain. It's the seat of emotion. She wants to understand the dynamic of the problem before she solves it. That's very interesting to me, so that you can really see the differences of the reaction under stress. Here's another really big difference. The crosstalk between the two hemispheres of the brain. The left hemisphere and the right hemisphere are connected by a tissue called the corpus callosum. Men have 25% smaller amount of that corpus callosum, that connective tissue. As John said, when they're on the left side of the brain, the right side goes to sleep. When they're on the right side, the left side goes to sleep. Women can't do that. Both sides of the brain are lit up at the same time. So the left side, which is your logic centers, and the right side, which is your intuition and your emotion, they're talking to each other all the time. You can't turn that off. And so this is called the crosstalk between the two sides. Now, I know what the women are thinking. I did not say the man's brain is smaller. I just said the connective tissue between the two sides of the brain. But I just thought.
Sure? Are you 100% sure on that?
No, but just in case. I just wanted to show that because I know a lot of women were thinking, I know. So, and because of that crosstalk and only left or right side, man's brain is very specialized. They only think of one thing at a time. They only focus on one thing at a time. They can only do one task at a time. So the brain is wired that way. With a woman, they can multitask. I know many times if I'm texting my son, my wife will come up and start talking to me, and I'll go, hold on one second, let me just finish this. What, you can't text and talk? I'm like, no, I can't. I just can't do that. So this is really important to understand how the brain works in a man. They can only do that one thing at a time. They're not good at multitasking. That's why men actually get irritated when a woman interrupts him. Not a bad thing. I'm just saying he's so focused on one thing at a time. And I always use the analogy, imagine in the caveman days, the man would get up in the morning and he'd have to do one thing. Just go out and hunt, go kill something and bring it home for dinner. And I picture him with his spear, his long pole, really sharp. He's been sharpening it all night. And then he goes out in the morning and he tiptoes through the forest and he's hiding behind a tree and he sees a whole herd of buffalo. I hit the mother lode. This is fantastic. And so he gets ready to throw the spear and she comes tiptoeing behind him. Psst, which one are you going to pick? No, not that one. Pick this one over here. This one, I can make more clothes. I can make more food. And he turns around to say, shh. And when he turns back around, they're all gone. Lost them all. That's why men get irritated when women interrupt them. And what's so interesting to me is women are the exact opposite. They actually get irritated when men try to narrow down their thinking. Just think of one thing, just bring it down to this one Excel spreadsheet or this one thing that you can focus on. That irritates women. That stresses women out. And men try to do it all the time. Why? Because that's what they do. And women try to do it all the time to see the bigger picture. And that irritates men. This is so fascinating to me that they're completely opposite. And the rub, as I said earlier, the relationship can be a source of stress or a source of comfort if you know this material or you don't. And so let's get into how it can be a source of stress or comfort. We have radically different mechanisms to cope. What do men do under stress? They're going to want to go for a drive. They're going to want to go on the computer and just start scrolling. I know a lot of women, if you shake your head, give me a thumbs up. That's what your husband, this is me. I have the remote control and I'm just flipping channels. I'm not even watching anything. My wife comes up, what are you watching? I'm like, nothing. Say, what do you mean nothing? Mindless activities. Men, a lot of men still like video games. I've never been a video game guy, but that shuts off their brain. Or, is that, Susan?
Sports. They like to watch sports.
This afternoon, Eagles, baby. Yes, it just shuts off my brain and I get to watch, men collide with each other. Or they're going to fight with you or run away, go to their cave. So
Right.
this is very common. This is how men cope with stress. How do women cope with stress? They often want to talk about it, as John said. They want to ask questions, the who, the what, the where, the when, the how, all these questions. And I get it all the time. I'm barraged with questions. They want to bond. They want to connect. This is so important for women coping with stress. And let's talk about why is this? Why do men cope this way and women cope that way? It just doesn't, we're both humans because we have this hormone that does this. And I'm going to show you now. Two hormones, testosterone and oxytocin. What's so interesting is in a man's body, when he produces testosterone, it lowers the production of cortisol. When a woman produces oxytocin, not testosterone, but oxytocin, it lowers the production of cortisol. I want you to picture a seesaw on a children's playground. And if you have one child on one side and one on the other, one goes up, one goes down. This is exactly what happens in our body. When a man produces testosterone, then cortisol is low. If cortisol is high, testosterone is low. The same thing in a woman's body, but a different hormone. It's called oxytocin. Oxytocin high, cortisol's low. The seesaw is the same in both bodies, but it's a very different hormone. So let's talk about testosterone first. First of all, testosterone. This hormone is very interesting. When a man wakes up in the morning, he has the highest level of testosterone. He literally wakes up and it peaks as soon as he opens his eyes. Then he goes to work. And what does he do? It depletes it all day. He's fixing, he's solving, he's achieving, he's succeeding. So he's using up the testosterone. And then he comes home with very low testosterone. And what does he need to do? He needs time to recover. How does a man reproduce the testosterone? By shutting down. It's so interesting to me. It literally, the anticipation of success will actually increase his testosterone. Forgetting the problem will increase his testosterone. Shutting down, less challenging, like watching a football game, reading, taking a nap. When I was a boy, I remember my dad every single day for the first 18 years of my life, he would come home from work, sit in his favorite chair, open the newspaper, and fall asleep every single day until dinner was ready.
And what's so interesting, I love this because it happens unconsciously. It's like a
Yes.
man's body tells him to do this. He doesn't know he's doing this. Now, after today, he might know he's doing this, but I think that it's so interesting that that's what a man's body tells him to do. It's now time to rebuild your testosterone. Doesn't
You're
happen with a
100% right.
woman's body, and you're going to talk about that next.
Yes. Because one thing I will tell you, I didn't, and you're right, Susan, I didn't understand that when I would come home from work, I would literally go into my office, take this stack of mail, not even open it, just flipping through each mail. And I never thought, not only was I not aware of it, I never thought about it until I became a Mars Venus coach and looked back on my life and went, I was doing that every single day. Now I know why. I was shutting down to rebuild my testosterone, which
Yep.
lowers cortisol, lowers the stress hormone. This is so interesting to me.
It's so interesting, and it's going to be so important as we move further into this about why Mars and Venus, why men and women collide, because women's bodies don't tell them to rest. And when we expect the man to come home and do more, you'll be talking about that soon. But this is probably one of the top 3 reasons there's problems in relationships.
Yep. It's all about the stress and how we expect the other person to deal with stress. If I'm stressed and I know she's stressed, why is she not in her office going through the mail? Why is she not flipping the channels and watching football?
It's so unfair that a woman's body doesn't tell her to rest when she needs to rebuild her own hormones.
Yeah. So, this is something, a golden rule. Women on the call, I recommend you write this down. The best way to support a man is to leave him alone. I've done that many times with Valerie. Just leave me alone for a minute. Let me just kind of rebuild my testosterone. She said, but first let's talk. First, let's give me a hug. And I'm like, just want to be alone. Just give me a few minutes and I can rebuild my testosterone.
And when she
So
understands,
let's talk about oxytocin.
and when she understands that, she can
Helmet,
give
I
you
think
that space
Susan's
because she knows you're going
no?
to come back.
Am I frozen? Helmet, can you hear me?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
I can hear you both.
Okay, so let's talk about oxytocin. When you produce oxytocin, women, it doesn't just lower your cortisol, it lowers blood pressure, it lowers fear. This is really important. It creates a feeling of attachment. You know, women produce the highest level of oxytocin when they're breastfeeding a baby.
yep.
Why? Because they are so in love with this baby. They are so attached to this baby that they literally produce such high levels that they don't even produce cortisol during breastfeeding. That is so
Bonding.
interesting to me.
It's the bonding hormone.
And I'll tell you the opposite. They feel alone. They feel oxytocin is very low when they feel alone. That's a really big one. Or ignored, or they're not important, or they're not supported, or they're rushed, or as we said before, they're in overwhelm. This is so important to understand. When you're in overwhelm, one thing should come to your mind: I have low oxytocin. How do I reproduce that oxytocin? That's what we're going to talk about. Here's one other really big problem. And we talked about it earlier that a lot of women work. They have to work. They're either single and they have kids and they have to make money, or that we need the money in the household. And one thing I'm going to tell you, work environments are not oxytocin producing. Can anybody think? Was American Express oxytocin? Were you feeling nurtured at your corporate job, Susan?
Only sometimes if I had a female boss, sometimes, but otherwise it was, I was a hunter. I had to go out and I had to, I ate what I killed because I was a sales executive. So
I love
no.
I love that. So this is just so important that the work environment is not, and most women that are in senior positions like Susan was, they have high levels of what? Cortisol. And they're in their masculine energy. And then they come home. Do you think they switch right away into their feminine energy? No. And that pushes him into his feminine energy because she's in that masculine side.
Yep.
So most women that work come home from work with very low oxytocin. And this is where there's a big problem, because what happens when they walk in the door? What happens when they walk in the door? The second workday starts. He comes home and, hey, I'm just going to go take a nap. I'm just going to watch TV. She comes home and, oh, you're kidding. Now I got to cook and I got to clean and I got to take care of the family and I got to go shopping. This is why we have such a challenge, is he knows he's just going to lay down and take a nap. And she knows our second workday begins. And this is a big stressor.
Big.
So how
Huge.
do we increase? Yeah. How do we increase oxytocin? First of all, trust. If she knows driving home, I can anticipate that my husband or my partner or my friend is going to be there and show me support. Have a conversation. John Gray calls it a Venus talk, where you just let her talk for 15 minutes, and men, don't try to fix it. As John said in the video, she's not looking for your solution. She's not looking for you to tell her, oh, I should quit that job. No, what she's looking for is to use the relationship. She wants your ear. She wants you to be listening, men. It is the biggest thing I tell every man that I coach is ask her about her day and bite your tongue. I literally have a scar on the side of my cheek from where I bit my tongue, just hold it and just going, oh, that had to be hard for you. I can understand why you feel that way. Don't give her solutions. It's the hardest thing for men to do. Why? Because we're wired to fix it. We're wired to solve it. And if we're wired to solve it and we're trying to stop ourselves from solving it, that's why I got a scar on the side of my tongue from biting it. And this really helped. I'm telling you, every time I do that, she goes, thank you for listening. I really appreciate that. Then I know her oxytocin is going up. Her cortisol is going down. Anytime a woman is helping and sharing and befriending without any expectations, her oxytocin goes up. Women are typically really good at helping others, and many times at their own expense. But here's something a lot of women don't know. You produce twice as much oxytocin when you nurture yourself. A lot of women don't know that. And so nurturing yourself, it literally lowers your cortisol. And here's some of the things we can do. Things like take a bubble bath, get your hair done, get your nails done, go for a spa day, go to lunch with girlfriends, go window shopping. You don't even have to spend the money. Just go to the mall. You'll see how much oxytocin. I can see it on every woman when I go to the mall. They have a huge smile on their face. They're just loving it, and they don't even have any shopping bags. This stimulates oxytocin. Here's another one that a lot of women have a tough time with. You literally produce oxytocin when you ask for help. I'd love you to, in the chat, tell me, why is it so hard for women to ask for help? Why is that difficult for women? Just put it in the chat. Because I know my wife doesn't ask for help a lot. My daughter, who's an adult now, doesn't ask for help a lot. And I think women are trained to not ask for help. I think they believe, I'm independent, I can do it myself, I don't need a man. These are the things that society's teaching us, which is so interesting to me. Susan?
Well, I also think that what happens is if we ask for help and it's not done the way we want it to be done, we feel disappointed. And John talks about this a
That's
lot.
exactly
We ask
right.
for help, you don't do it right. We criticize you, and then you never want to help us again. So one of
Exactly.
the best strategies I've ever learned that you probably will talk about is that when you ask for help and someone gives it to you, especially your man, you say, thank you. That made me so happy that you did your best to help me.
I
Next time
didn't know.
when
You're
I
so
ask you to, you know,
Susan, I didn't know there was a right and wrong way to empty the dishwasher
there
until now.
is.
I guess there is. That's what I've learned.
Yes. So So yeah, men need specific instructions, but the point is asking for help. And the reason why we don't often do it is because we could feel disappointed because it wasn't done the way we wanted it to do, and then we had to do it over. So part
Very
of
true.
what we
Yeah.
learn here in this workshop and with John's work and your work is that we learn to ask for help from a man in a different way. And so he
Exactly.
can be successful. So you're not lying to him when you say, "Oh my God, it made me so happy."
Mm. And then, by the way, I'm glad you used the word happy because a lot of women don't know this is men typically their goal in life is to make the woman happy.
Yep.
A lot of women don't believe that. And then men get irritated because frankly, they say, no matter what I do, you're not
Yep.
happy.
Yep.
And so that's very common. And here's what's interesting though. When women ask for help, it not only increases her oxytocin, it actually increases his testosterone because men want to feel significant. We want to feel like we're helping, that we're part of this. And I'm going to tell you, this is so important to increase his testosterone and your oxytocin at the same time. Men want to be, as you know, in John's original book, Men Are From Mars, they want to be the emergency man. Rich, I need you. Those are the best words I could ever hear, that I need you. Because one thing, I'll tell you a little story. Here in the United States, we have Thanksgiving every November. And I remember a couple years ago, Thanksgiving morning, I went into the kitchen and it looked like a bomb went off. Literally, a bomb. The smoke was going, the stove, the oven, the water was dripping. She's chopping. It looked like a bomb. And I said to her, Valerie, can I help you? Nope, I got it. Her typical answer, nope, I've got everything under control. And I went, okay. I turned around and I walked out of the kitchen. I got about halfway down the hall and I said, wait a minute, I'm a Mars Venus coach. This is not okay. And I turned around and I went back in the kitchen and I said, Valerie, I want you to know something. Men need to feel needed and women need to feel they're not alone. And when I didn't feel needed, what did I do? I left you alone. This is a vicious cycle, ladies and gentlemen. This happens in every relationship. Because you don't make me feel needed, I leave you alone. And because I leave you alone, you don't make me feel needed. This cycle goes on and it's a real problem. And if you noticed, you see her with the oxytocin tank on her back, not on his back. It's not his job to fill her oxytocin. Can he support it? Yes, but she's got to learn to do it herself. Same with the testosterone. He's lucky. He just take a nap, go on a sports TV, just kind of shut down. This is a really big one. Men need to feel needed. Women need to feel they're not alone. So let's talk about some of the normal things. I'd love you to write this down, please. These are some of the things women can do to increase oxytocin. One thing, and really important, I talk to every person I coach about managing your time. Because one thing I will tell you, when women are running around like a chicken, they're in their masculine energy. The first thing I get them to do is let's start a morning routine, a very slow morning routine. Don't just make your coffee and drink it. Actually smell it. Take a sip of it and taste it. Slow down your morning routine so you set your entire day in your feminine energy. Exercise regularly. This is a very big one because exercise, you're nurturing your body. Eating healthy. Again, you're nurturing yourself. So pick healthy lunches and healthy dinners. This is another really big one. Adequate sleep. I can't tell you how many women I coach that tell me I don't sleep well. It's the first indication that they have very low oxytocin is their sleep habits. And that's something that we can actually teach how to sleep better. Living in the now. This is another one. Like I said, a lot of women actually live in the future. And that's where anxiety is what's going to happen tomorrow? What's going to happen next week? So we actually teach them to live more in the now. Being much more assertive, not aggressive. I'm not saying women should be aggressive, but setting your boundaries and sticking to those boundaries is being assertive. These are just some of the normal things you can do. But how do we really fill up the oxytocin tank? I would write these down if I were you. If you notice, by her, 90%. By him, 10%. Like I said, he can contribute to it, but it's not his responsibility. He wants to support her in her filling her oxytocin. doing something nice for yourself, planning interactive occasions, asking for help, scheduling a work activity, going to lunch with girlfriends at your lunch break, having a done list, not a to-do list, Susan, like your to-do list, having a have done list.
Yep.
Here's one that I told my daughter years ago when she went to college. I said, how close is a flower store to you? She said, oh, there's one right down the street. I said, what I'd love you to do is every Monday morning before you go to school, go buy yourself, not waiting for a man, go buy yourself a bouquet of flowers. Set it up in your apartment, and every time you walk in the door, you see that nurturing of yourself. She said that she's been doing it more than 5 years now. She said it was the best advice I ever had because I have a big smile, a lot of oxytocin because I nurtured myself, not waiting for a man to buy me flowers. Oh, here's a really good one. Hire a coach. This is what I tell a lot of people. Why? Because they will get you to do this stuff. In fact, another gift we're going to give you at the end of this workshop is a list of 100 oxytocin producing activities that you can do throughout the week. The difference, however, is the coach gets you to do it, not just know it. What are the things he can do to support? Of course, he can be more supportive. He can listen to her. He can encourage her. He can be considerate. He can tell her how much he appreciates her work. That's a big one. Women want to feel that appreciation. Praise her efforts and her success. It's not always a success, it's the effort. Show respect. This is really important for women. Men typically feel, oh, I get respect at work already. It's a man's world. Women really need that respect, and it's important to give it to them. These are some of the things we can do to fill the oxytocin tank as a partnership. So we really want to recognize these differences. That's the 100% message of Mars Venus. The overall message of Mars Venus is we are not the same. We are different. And a lot of people take that difference as we're not equal. Difference and equality have nothing to do with each other. We're not talking about equality. In fact, we're not even talking about identity or sexuality or any of that. All we're talking about is the bottom line biology of how a man and a woman cope with stress. She needs to connect and feel heard. He needs to escape, and you need to let him do that and feel needed. And a lot of women don't want to do that. They don't want him to feel needed. Why? Because he left her alone, just like I did with my wife.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
This is so important to really understand that that's our overarching message.
Yeah.
So knowing this, like I said, our relationship can be a source of stress or a source of comfort. Can we really reduce stress? I believe we can. Can we get that work-life harmony? Not balance, but harmony? I believe we can. Improve the quality of our work, climb the corporate ladder, and it can be pleasurable. Susan, if you knew this while you were still at American Express, I probably wouldn't have you on the team. So I'm glad you didn't know it then.
Well, but I know it now, and it has served me as I have moved forward to coach other people and build businesses. And even now, this information is again reinforcing things. Thank you so much, Rich. I mean, that was so powerful. And I've seen and I've presented this workshop myself so many times throughout the years, and I still get so much value out of it. So I hope that everybody who's listening and who's here today also got a lot of aha moments. Helping people is maybe something that's innate in all of us, but when I transitioned out of my career and corporate, I needed and wanted another career, one that was meaningful and made a difference in people's lives. And I made the decision to invest in myself because I knew that this information would help me in my own relationships, but also it was going to help me help others. And what I loved about the Mars Venus and still love about the Mars Venus coaching program is that not only does it teach you this gender intelligence information, which is so important, but it taught me how to build a coaching practice. And I got the support, I got the information, and the information was like a master's degree course. And I got connection. It has been one of the most powerful things I've done in my life and one of the best investments I've made. So, Rich, I'd like you to share now what certification is all about.
Great. And one thing I do want to mention, I know there's a lot of coaching schools out there, and I know there's a lot of coaches out there. You have to, in businesses, this is something we stress at Mars Venus, is that you have to have a USP, a unique selling proposition. Why would somebody work with you as opposed to everybody else? Ours is gender intelligence. To me, this is amazing that you can say to somebody, I'm a gender intelligent Mars Venus coach. I promise you 100% of the people would say, wait, what? What is that?
Yep.
And
Yep.
so I think it's important to have that USP. And we are the only coaching school in the world that teaches gender intelligence. That is
Yep.
our foundation around John Gray's work.
Yep.
So I don't know if you guys know this, maybe you do now. It is the second fastest growing industry in the world behind IT. We all know that, IT and AI and all that computer stuff. But frankly, this is $100 billion industry, and a lot of people don't know that. So I think it's important to know how big this is. Okay. The elements of the license, what does that mean? What do you get if you became a licensed Mars Venus coach? First thing I want to say is you get a success formula. As Susan said, we have
Yep.
coaches all around the world. Let me tell you how many we have. More than 700 have been trained and certified by us in 43 countries. That's one thing that we've learned is no matter what language you speak, no matter what culture you're in, men are men and women are women, and the challenges we have are exactly the same. That's amazing to me. I've done this workshop literally all over the world, from the Middle East to Europe to Australia to Canada to US, and everybody's going like, you're looking through my window. Those are the same challenges I have. As Susan mentioned, the team is big for us. We have WhatsApp groups that support each other. We have calls with Dr. John Gray every 6 weeks that we can connect with him and really understand more and more of this gender intelligence. So the team and the support to me is the community. That community is so powerful. You will never, ever work alone. That's one of the beautiful things. You will have systems given to you of literally how to sell it, how to market yourself, how to do workshops to build your credibility, and then, of course, how to coach with gender intelligence. And one thing I will tell you, we are the only coaching school that everything you learn here, you can take home and use in your personal
Exactly.
life. Right, Susan?
That was unparalleled because
Right.
I don't know if you know this, Rich, but the truth is the reason why I joined Mars Venus Coaching is because I wanted to learn how to have more harmonious relationships in my life.
We're very proud of our team. So what's the investment? What do I need to do? What's my return on the investment? That's really important that you understand your return on your investment. We call it an ROI. What does the investment provide? Like I said, the brand, the comprehensive system for everything, not just for coaching. Because I know a lot of coaching schools, they teach you how to coach and then they wave goodbye. Good luck. Like when you went to college, you probably graduated and never talked to the school again. Here at Mars Venus, we don't do that. We are very connected to our coaches every single day. The gender intelligence focus, like I said, that's a USP, a unique selling proposition that nobody else can use. Our global network, and like I said, the training is so powerful. We have 3 levels here at Mars Venus. We have level 1, which is life and relationship. So you're actually going to learn how to coach people around life, because I am going to mention one thing, and I talk to a lot of people about this. Anytime somebody comes to you as a client with a problem, 90% of the time, that is not the problem, that is the symptom. And so we teach you how to get underneath that symptom and coach them on what's really going on in their life. Because I'm going to tell you, the systems we teach, you'll be able to coach anybody on any topic using this formula. This is so critical that you learn to coach on anything. Because when you discover that it's not that, it's this, you have to coach them on this, not on that. And then, as Susan said, she's also a business coach. We have a business coach as a whole nother level. And at that level, you learn how to go into a business and actually support them in 3 areas. Because believe it or not, business owners only have one of three problems: time, team, or money. That's it. Anything you could think of as a problem in business, it's either around time, I'm running around like a chicken, or it's team, my team is not productive or not, or I'm not a good enough leader. We teach you how to do all that, or money. They don't have enough money coming in. So we teach you how to do all three of those. And then the highest level is executive coaching. Typically, they don't have the money problem, they have the time and the team problem. So we're going to help them with that. We have systems that we break down. Number one, to identify what's the problem, whether it's life, business, or executive, and then how to coach them on that. And then remember, you're not coaching them alone. You have a team around you that's saying, well, have you tried this? Maybe you should try that with this client. So it's very, very productive for you. You don't have to have all the answers. So you're going to go through this actual process. Those are the big pieces of it. If I open up the first one, it's the coaching process overview you learn, and then gender intelligence. And then we take every client through a process. First, we position them. Then we do an alignment to bring them clarity. John Gray created an amazing document that brings the client clarity, and we teach you how to do those sessions. Once they now have clarity, it's time to craft a 90-day plan. And then we start measuring. And then we remove emotional blocks, because as a person starts finding success, these things called emotional blocks rear their ugly head. Suddenly things like perfectionism and resentment and guilt and jealousy, all these things pop up, and we are the only coaching school that teaches you how to remove emotional blocks. Once those blocks are removed, then we want to fill your love tanks. So we take you through the process of how to do this with your clients. Then you order your certificate, your email, your business cards. We give you the entire process. Even a website comes with the course, your own custom-made website. You fill in all the different pieces of it, and then we craft it for you. And then we put you on our map listing on our Mars Venus Coaching website. And it's always growing. We have a global presence. In fact, every year, all the coaches fly in from around the world. This year, we're going to be in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt. Last year, we were in Bali. The year before, we were in Las Vegas. So all the coaches fly in with John Gray, and we actually have 4 days of fun. No, 4 days of learning. I like having fun, but we have fun and learning at the same time. So that global presence is amazing to me. The brand enhancement, the expert insights. Like I said, you will never coach alone. You will never say, how do I help this client this week? You just go into the WhatsApp group, you ask everybody, you'll get 50 answers from 50 different coaches of what to do with that client. The network of coaches, in my opinion, is the most powerful thing we have amassed. Like I say, we have over 700 coaches in 43 countries. To me, this is our power. Oh, did my computer, did it get dark on you?
Nope.
Okay, good. Let me make it brighter. Okay. Our team is highly selective. We only are looking for certain people. So if this is interesting to you, I want you to be able to reach out to us. This is not something you can just say, yeah, I want to be a Mars Venus coach. We want it to be right for you, and we want you to be right for us. This is really important to us.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So do you have what it takes?
I'm often asked, how is Mars-Venus coaching different from other forms of coaching?
I believe in synergy between man and a woman, and I believe that with the knowledge of gender-specific things, we can bring the best out of each other.
Gender intelligence showed me that our brain works differently.
I thought I knew who I was. I thought I knew what I wanted to do, and the journey for becoming a coach completely changed my perspective.
I think coaching is very important for everyone. What's unique about a Mars-Venus coach is they're trained in gender intelligence.
I learned how to be a better man, how to be a better husband, how to be a better human being, and more than all, how to be a better entrepreneur and a better coach. So it's unbelievable change in my life.
Like who I am, my relationship with my kids, relationship with my friends and families, economy.
It surprised me how much I evolved as I'm working with my clients.
Mars Venus has a system to follow. And I love that about the Mars Venus coaching. And it will get you into marketing, sales, getting clients, workshops, everything. It's there. You just have to use it.
I think relationships run the world. And if we're too much stuck on how to do things, we need to know also who can help us do what we can do best. Gender intelligence helped me bring that into execution on tasks.
Now I can see people in a different way, and I know that just by using some of the tools, and I can connect and relate better to men and women.
Helping women to understand specifically women's needs and help men approach relationships, success, work from the perspective of what they need as a man.
What I want others to know about Mars Venus coaching is that you really can change people's lives in exponential ways.
Now I look at people with empathy that I don't think I had before. Before I was like, why aren't you like this? Why aren't you like that? But now I get it. I get that we're different, and we have to accept that we're different and navigate around that.
And when it comes to understanding the opposite sex, the only place you'll get that understanding is with somebody who has gender intelligence, a Mars Venus coach. So it's the extra addition you get from regular coaching, which is also very valuable.
And it's empowering us as coaches to change the world one relationship at a time.
So I recommend, honestly, that you scan this, take 30 minutes of your time, have an interview with myself or Susan or Helmut or one of our team members and see whether or not this is right for you. You owe it to yourself to see if it's right for you. That's what's
Yeah. Thank you. And if they can't scan it, is there another way for them to contact us?
MarsVenusCoaching.com.
Okay.
Please just go in there and you can book a call right there. And if you want to download the gift that I told you, which is that list of 100 oxytocin producing activities, scan this one too. But I recommend that if you have any interest in it, find out if it's right for you.
Okay. All right. So this is important. So scan the QR code. So this gift here is the 100 ways to increase your oxytocin. And I want to thank you, Rich. Powerful insights for gender intelligence. Again, I just can't, this whole stress thing, it reinforces every day on how I can apply even more of this into my life and help my clients that I coach every day. So before we get started with the raffle, we're going to ask you one more question. Please type in the comments, what is the biggest insight you have taken away from this workshop? So please type that into the chat box, and then we're going to select 3 participants who have participated, 3 participants who have been interacting with us. We really appreciate that. It means a lot to get your energy back. So we're giving energy, but when you participate, it allows us to interact with you in a virtual environment. It means a lot to us. So we will be picking 3 people, and to receive that $500 value of the lifetime access to the Secrets to Successful Relationships. So let's see here what we've got here. Biggest insight, 2 times the oxytocin. It's that, and the serotonin. Very interesting about the serotonin. Again, unfair. She's not alone. The simple awareness. Women nurtured in the workplace. Men and women are different. How men's testosterone is the greatest thing. Our differences complete each other. I love that, whoever wrote that. Our differences do complete each other when we can understand them and honor them and apply them into our lives. Then we can be in harmonious relationships. That men need to be needed. So important. Women are so independent. I was raised to be independent, and I know that when I don't need a man, he doesn't support me. So I've learned to say, I need you. And I watch their face change. And then they can hug me and they can support me. So it's just really powerful information. So I can help to increase my own oxytocin. Yes, you can. Be sure to download the 100 ways to increase your oxytocin. So, Helmut, I don't know how we're going to do this, or Rich, how we're going to do this, but go ahead. I think we're probably about ready to pick our winners.
I think so too. Okay, so I'll be doing the raffle. So I'm having just to let you know what I'm doing, I'm having my cursor on the chat window, and I'm going to run the cursor around, and wherever it stops, that person will get the first of our successful relationship courses, and that is Anna
Oh, you didn't do a good job with that name.
Oh boy, I am sorry, Anna. Anna Protero. Is that
Anna, are you there? Anna, let us know if you're there. Anna.
You can unmute yourself and show yourself.
Or in the chat, either way.
Or in the chat, yes.
Okay,
Okay.
so pick me. Jules says pick me.
Okay,
All
one
right.
second. I am spinning. And we are landing at Neely R. Are we here?
Spell that for us.
Neely, Neeli.
I see Simone. You're funny, Simona. I'm available. Call me Anna if you want. How cute is that, Simona?
All right, Neely's here. Neely won. He's like, I'm here. Yay, or she. Yay, Neely.
Excellent.
Where's Anna?
Congratulations.
We're still waiting for Anna. All right, last one. Here we go.
So is Anna here as well? Is she?
I do not believe we've seen from Anna yet.
No, so we need to, so she needs to be here to get, no, but Anna is here. I can see her popping up. Hold on.
Oh, there she is. Oh, no, is that an Anna? No, that's a different
that's
Anna.
Anna. That's Anna.
Okay.
Anna, can you hear us?
That's Simona Anna.
No, there was okay, Anna is here. I can see that, but she can't. Anna, can you say something? Can you make yourself heard to collect your prize?
And while we're doing that, I just want to thank everybody. I want to thank, while we're waiting for Anna and before we pick number 3, thank you all. Thank you all for being here.
Picking number 3, scrolling, and it stops at Tommy. Tommy or Tammy? Thomi.
There's Tommy. Tommy, yes, I am here.
All right. Okay. All right. Congratulations.
You won, Tommy.
Yay.
Fantastic. So we have one more. Anna Protero. I can see you.
Your last chance.
But you have to say something or write in into the chat. Like, no. Okay, we'll do one more. We'll have one.
All right, Anna, last chance. Okay, so we're going to give away Anna's. So here we go. Someone's got another chance here to win.
Melinda McClemens. Melinda.
Yes.
There she is, Melinda.
All
Good
right,
job,
Melinda.
Melinda.
Congratulations. Yay.
I love this course. You'll love it. Secrets of Successful Relationships. There's so many tips in there.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
Good. Oh, now hold on a second.
And don't forget, please book your appointment with us. You deserve it. You owe it to yourself to at least see whether or not Mars Venus is right for you.
Okay.
This is so important to know.
I've got a question. If they're not interested in maybe becoming a coach, what about if they're interested in having a coach? What would be the step that they would take?
Same thing. Just book a call and then we'll tell you who you'll coach with. We'll assign you to a coach, depending on what you really want to learn about yourself. Because we have some that are specialists. I have one that's a psychosexual therapist in Egypt. She's amazing. So if that's your challenge, or if it's, just you going through the dating process, we have some that focus on that. Or starting over is another one. Those that have had death or divorce. How do I heal before I get into another relationship? All of these are critical. So set up that interview. We'll give you a clarity call. And then you decide, should I have a coach or should I be a coach? Because think about it for a minute. If every person in the world had a coach, we would live on a different planet.
Yeah. Again, just to be specific, so the people, in order to schedule the call, the process is either scan the not this QR code, scan the other QR code. Can we put up the other QR code, Helmut?
Yep, pulling it up
Put up the
now.
other QR code. So there's two ways for you to schedule an appointment to talk with us. And one would be to scan the QR code that Rich just put up, and that will take you to a calendar, I believe. Correct?
Yep.
Take you to the
It'll take you
calendar.
to a calendar.
Or if you're not able to do that because technology is weird, just go to what's the website again?
MarsVenusCoaching.com.
MarsVenusCoaching.com, and it will allow you to schedule an appointment.
And let me make one last recommendation. Please go to our YouTube channel, Mars Venus Coaching. I put out videos all the time. Susan and I do videos all the time. So please, Helmut and I do them all the time. Please go in there, and then you'll get a notice if you subscribe every time we do a new video. And I think, Helmut, we do it, what, 3 times a day? They're posted in there?
Oh, yeah, the shorts.
Yeah.
And they're always giving value. What I'm trying to do is help the world, whether you're a Mars Venus coach or not, whether you have a Mars Venus coach or not, we still want to help the world.
Yeah,
Our
thank you.
mission is to save a million relationships by 2030. That is why we do what we do.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Rich. Thank you so much,
Welcome.
Rich, for all that you do. Thank you, John Gray, for your work. Your body of work has been life-changing. He's a pioneer, and Rich, you're a pioneer, and your team, Helmut and Samar, and the whole team behind the Mars Venus Global Coaching. Thank you, and thank you to all the participants. I hope that you got some value out of today. Now go build your testosterone, go build your oxytocin, and let's bring this world into more harmony. Thank you so much, and have a beautiful rest of your day.